How's it going, guys? Thank you for joining us today. This is Carlos, your host of the Just Fans podcast, and I'm joined here by Rios, who doesn't miss a day on this show, and I wish he would. I'm just kidding. No, how's it going, Rios?
Hey, don't knock my perfect attendance, sir.
Yes, sir. You do.
I couldn't do it in school, but I could do it as an adult.
There you go. You learn from your mistakes, sir. There you go. And today, man, I got a special guest, and I love having this guy over because, he's there when we first started doing this gig as the old Texan Talking podcast or whatnot. And he was one of those guys that I reached out to as a guest, and he immediately said yes without any hesitation. And he just brought so much energy to the show. And, he's one of the reasons why we're doing pretty good, So I want to bring in Andy McNamara. How's it going, Andy? How you been, man?
Hey, boys, doing good. Thank you very much. Yeah, I always love coming on with you guys. Always have a great time. So, yeah, we're opponents this week.
Yeah, we're opponents this week, man. No, who better? I just thought, I was like, who better? The old Chris Canyon thing from WCW.
Yes.
Who better? Who better than to bring Andy McNamara on, my favorite Browns fan that we know. So, Andy, man, what are we looking at this week? Tell us a little bit about what you guys are talking about in the Browns community coming in facing this Texans team.
Well, what a different storyline than I think all of us probably thought we were going to be having coming into this game at the start of the year. It was going to be Deshaun Watson coming back, right? It was going to be maybe the Browns did it. Well, instead of Deshaun Watson, he's out for the year. The Browns are on their fourth quarterback. And, oh, by the way, it's 38-year-old Joe Flacco off the couch. Oh, and by the way, he's giving them the best quarterback play they've had all year. That's the storyline. We got hashtags going on the Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara. We got hashtag Flacco Fever. We got Wacko for Flacco. This is bananas.
Wacko for Flacco?
Wacko for Flacco.
Wow.
That
gets my vote. Wacko for Flacco. That gets my vote.
And guys, like they're winning, and it's not just like you're dink and dunking your way to stuff. Like he's throwing. Like we talk about fantasy football when I'm on with you guys. Like Joe Flacco's been a top fantasy quarterback the last 2 weeks, and he's throwing over 300 yards. Like it's something you couldn't even have made up before the year.
Right?
No, exactly.
Who had this under bingo card?
No one did. No one expected it.
Not even Flacco. He's surprised.
Flacco's I'm doing this. Even Flacco.
Yeah,
that's me. Look at it. That's me.
Oh, it's like okay, yeah. So, it's a case where they're just trying to overcome injuries, and it's funny. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Texans have the most players on injured reserve or injured, and the Browns are tied or second. So we're both sides of us are banged up.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the story of the season. Just next man up, and then after that, the man after him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and after him, and it's to the point where, hey, if you own one of our team jerseys, come on and try out on Monday at 10 a.m.
Are you a former soccer player? Can you kick a ball? Yes, come to tryouts.
Yeah. Come on out.
Come on over. Yeah, we had what's hilarious because you don't really feel like sometimes this makes much of a difference, but for us it did. Kaimi Fairbairn, he was such a difference maker for us. He was at last week's MVP besides Case Keenum.
Right.
We're out CJ Stroud. It looks like he might even be out this weekend as well.
Yeah.
Browns, and it looks like Case Keenum will start. And I'm gonna tell you this honestly, as a Texans fan, I like the glimpses that I saw from Case Keenum against the Titans or the fake Tennessee Oilers, as we want to call them, but
the Tennessee cosplayers.
The Tennessee cosplayers. But I'll tell you what, though, I don't feel as confident as honestly, it was a surprise for me walking in last week and getting the W with Case Keenum in second, I guess, and the backups of the backups. But now we have the same situation going against a much tougher defense, especially with that secondary you guys have going on.
Yeah.
And so I don't feel as I didn't feel confident last week. I feel much less confident this week in going against you guys. Just because of your defense. Man, your defense has been phenomenal for you guys. Where do you
Yeah. It's been a tremendous year for the defense, but the interesting thing is a lot of those stats in the number one ranking stuff come from the home games. On the road is where the Browns have struggled. And with Case Keenum, it's a case where he knows the Browns and Kevin Stefanski and the Browns know him. He won 2 games for us during the Baker Mayfield years. I was at one of the games in Cleveland when they won the Thursday nighter against Denver. And like you guys saw last week. Look, is Case Keenum going to light up? Is he going to go Joe Flacco and light up the world?
Yeah, right.
No.
These 38-year-old quarterbacks, man, they're doing something.
They're wild. Like, for Case Keenum, what is he? He's the perfect backup. What you want? You want somebody who can come in, who's calm, who can distribute the football, and probably not screw it up too much. Right now, is he gonna? If you're down 14, well, you're kind of hosed. But he's a guy that can get you through and distribute the ball. And I think it's that calmness that the Texans got a shot. I really wanted to watch Tank Dell in in person. I say, like, against the Browns. Man, that guy really impressed me, and CJ Stroud too. So you guys got is Nico coming back? Nico Collins?
He practiced today. He practiced today.
So most likely you'll have him. So that's going to be if it's Case, then at least that's another weapon for Case to have, because I mean last week he had Robert Woods and Noah Brown, and Noah Brown didn't do much for the Cowboys, and he stepped up last week. We've seen glimpses of Noah Brown. Like, we had seen glimpses before with Noah and CJ, and then he just kind of fell off the face of the earth with that injury. And then last week, it's just like he came back. He was over 100 yards for sure, and a touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, he looked like a wide receiver one, last week, with Case Keenum. With Case Keenum. So yeah. I think the Texans this season, and I'm including Tank Dell in this before the injury, I think they had a very underrated receiving core that many people didn't know exactly what they were expecting. I mean, Tank Dell, Rios, and I would watch him at U of A, so we kind of had an expectation of him, right, Rios?
Okay.
So even before the season, we were like, "Hey, Tank Dell's looks like he's gonna be good." A few of our Texans people wanted like Zay Flowers over like Tank Dell or whatnot, but honestly, right now, I think getting Tank Dell at the round that we got him was a steal. To be honest with you.
Yes.
He's got, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, and I might be wrong about this, he's got better numbers than Zay Flowers was for the Ravens.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Per game averages, If he was still playing, he could have better numbers because his per game numbers right now are better.
He would have been over 1,000 yards by now, because he was right before he got injured. There was a stat that came out with the Texans. They said, okay, Andre Johnson and DeAndre Hopkins, Tank Dell was this close to, I think it was like 100 yards to beating their Andre Johnson and DeAndre Hopkins rookie season with the Texans, like at that level. But then he got hurt during that Broncos game, and that didn't happen. But man, to be put up with those two names,
and the years got drafted 03, 2013, 2023. Like, what are the odds?
Every
10 years.
I got a question for you guys, because you guys' run defense is good. How is your because really, like, our run game since Nick Chubb's been out, you got Jerome Ford, Kareem Hunt. Now Kareem Hunt short yardage, like, boy, if you need 2 yards, Kareem Hunt is going to will his way. He will just do it. But like, as far as the power rushing game, not so much. But your secondary, your pass defense, how's that looking right now?
The pass defense has been inconsistent. There are times where they're on it, and there are times when they're not. Derek Stingley has been the player recently in the last few games. He's been the player, except against the Jets. He's been the player we're expecting him to be. The guy that was drafted before Sauce Gardner. And so so it's to the point where, like, okay, we're starting to see some spark from Derek Stingley, because I think now, and Rios and I have been adamant about this, like, he's being used correctly in the right system, besides what Lovie Smith's old Tampa 2 defense or whatever.
Out there covering grass.
Exactly. Rios has a really great analogy about involving Deion Sanders? Yeah.
It's like asking Deion Sanders to guard a patch of grass. That's what they had him do last season. Like, what are you doing?
And so, pass defense, you got Steven Nelson and Derek Stingley on opposite sides. Those two are pretty good. Steven Nelson, every once in a while, he'll get cooked, but Stingley, I mean, he's been pretty good. He can keep up with those guys, with those receivers. Our biggest problem is at safety. Our middle of the field is the weakest part. Our linebacker, so I can see a lot of tight end throws. Exactly. So your tight end,
he's gonna eat.
He's gonna eat.
I'll tell you guys this: if you guys want an anytime touchdown bet, okay, and I don't know what the number's at yet, but I bet you it's high. Marquise Goodwin, book it. Bookmark this moment in the show. Marquise Goodwin, anytime touchdown, because 1, we know Flacco's got the big arm. 2, Marquise Goodwin, even at 32 years old, has Olympic speed. He can outrun anybody. Yeah. And finally, last week, Deshaun Watson couldn't connect with him. And the other QBs could. Joe Flacco, 57-yard bomb, and it was just like it was on a string. And you know that look, he only had 1 catch on like 1 throw, and that was it. Yeah. But he gets, if you're saying the safety thing you said perked up my ears, if he can get behind those safeties, and Flacco chucks at 50 yards, like that's an anytime touchdown play.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Because I think Jimmy Ward's going to be out because he's in concussion protocol, so he's probably out this week.
And so we have Jalen Petrie, I think, at safety, and I can't remember his last name is Houston, Marcus Houston, something like that.
Carson Houston.
Carson Houston. I apologize. Yeah, he's also, but I mean, we got the guy. We signed the guy off of like waivers, so
him and Adrian Amos. None of them were great in coverage.
And so it's just Jalen Petrie really, but Jalen Petrie has had a regressing sophomore year, I guess, if you want to call it, from last year. But he's lately, the last 2 games, has actually been showing up. So let's hopefully, we got something. But if not, that middle of the field is going to be a big weakness for the Texans because they have, Blake Cashman, who's been an amazing linebacker that we picked up the Jets. He's still hurt, and that's the guy that was covering back and forth.
I liked him coming out of college, Cashman.
Yeah.
I lost track of him.
Yeah, he's been good, but they just kind of he's been injured. That's all. If the defensive line got some depth, they added Tart from Tennessee as the nose tackle. So the only thing about him is, from what we were told with our friend who's a Tennessee fan, is his conditioning. So he'll give you like 2 plays and then he'll be right out. But he's a pretty decent nose tackle. So if my theory is that if the Texans defensive line can get to Joe Flacco, like they got to Will Levis, like they got to Russell Wilson, who are players who are more elusive than a 38-year-old Flacco. If you can make Joe Flacco one-dimensional and just try to use the run with Kareem Hunt. Now remember, the Texans have the 6th best pass rush defense. Fourth now, okay, fourth. Yeah, fourth. So we'll be good, but as long as they can get to Joe Flacco and make him feel uncomfortable, I think the Texans have a shot. But other than that, if you let Joe Flacco stay back there the entire time, he's going to pick you apart down the middle of the field.
Well, the injuries, I think, for both of our offensive lines have been a big part of the season storyline. So last week, the Browns are already with their backup left tackle, 3rd-string right tackle. The center Pochich was out, so they had the backup center. Then Joel Bitonio, future Hall of Famer, went out mid-game with back spasm. So we had 1 starter. Now, it seems like Pochich will be back, and Joel Bitonio, back spasms are kind of weird, but it sounds like he should. So they should have at least that middle 3 set for that. But, boy, if someone else goes down from what you guys are saying to get to Flacco, that could be a big problem.
Yeah, but same thing for us, too. We, Myles Garrett, for you guys, like he's been on the roll.
He's a monster.
Absolute guy.
And with him, he moves across the line. He doesn't stay in just one spot. So he's going against Larry Tunsil.
You guys see like the basketball stuff he does sometimes too, right? He does like the crossover. Yeah. Like imagine that. Imagine you're a lineman and you see this like 6'5" manimal, like next generation human species. You're like, what the hell is going to happen to me?
Yeah. What am I doing? I'm about to get crossed out without basketball. I got crossed over without a ball.
Right? Like it's wild. But Garrett has complained openly, and even the coaches did this week. And I know TJ Watt was across the league. We've bashed the officiating so much, but also the non-calls. It's disgusting across. I'm not even just being like a homer for the Browns on Garrett. Like across the league, like the officiating just stinks. I don't get it.
Oh.
Tell us about it.
We've seen it as well. Will Anderson, like he'll be, in a chokehold basically, no flag.
Right?
What are you looking at?
So you know what? It must be some sort of just whatever across the league. Like I don't understand. And you think like with all the money now with sports betting being legalized like everywhere, you'd think like the NFL would be like, all right, we gotta do something. Either hire full-time officials where your only job is to do this, and when you're not officiating, you're studying stuff and just. and I think simplify some of the rules too. Like, to me, I think the refs have too much. Like the stupid illegal motion or the lineman downfield. Who cares? You want to throw it to a guard? Go throw it to a guard. What do I care? It's dumb. It's too much.
He's 300 pounds. He's not going to light it up down the field.
I think you should be. Yeah, I think you should. I'm going far-fetched here. I think you should be able to challenge some officiating calls,
and have it where it's like
you have the replay.
Then you need because I don't know, I'm kind of collusion guy. Like the refs in New York, they're not going to want to make themselves look stupid. Like you almost need a third part, not paid by the Players Association or something, and not paid by someone who's totally not with the refs. Because even the Steatori or whatever on the TV, they never bash their own guys.
They don't. Of course not. Yeah. But there's no accountability for these guys. No. I can tell you the worst officiated game that I've seen in a long time, or maybe the worst, was when we went against the Jaguars and the Jaguars won. We lost that game based on just the type of officiating, all the weird calls that they threw against the Texans. Yeah, I understand that we're the most penalized team, but if you actually really look at that game, they took a catch away from Tank Dell that they said it wasn't a catch, and it was a catch from different angles. Like, you tell me you
can't. 8 feet in bounds. What's a catch at this point?
Yeah, because they didn't have enough evidence. But then you have the evidence after the game. You can't actually have you telling me that you're the NFL and don't have the technology to actually look at real time as
billion-dollar organization. Come on now.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That gives me at least some comfort, because I bet you if we talk to people from each fan base this year has a story like this. Because I'm for the Browns had a ton of them too. So I guess from both of our offensive lines, just keep holding, no problem.
We should make a bet on how many flags we're going to get this weekend. I'm willing to bet we're going to see more flags than the United Nations just being thrown in this game.
It slows the game down too, which it's like, come on,
let him play.
Don't you want to get out of here? Come on.
Let him play. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't you want to get out of here? Let him play. There's no reason why you should have, like you said, they should have so much power to control this type of game and at least have some accountability. If a ref messes up, I don't want to say fine them because they probably don't make as much as these players do, but I don't know, suspend them a game. I don't know, do some sort of suspension. Or something
make them to the press of the opposing team, the losing team, stand up there.
Yeah.
Let them get
the players.
Yeah. Hey, pal. Yeah. Why'd you do it? Yeah. Let's see how smug you are. Because I think it's thank goodness it's not as bad as baseball, but I think these guys, if you're part-time, if I'm Jerry and I'm working at a factory and I'm an NFL ref, well, I'm on TV. I want TV. He's a normal guy. Wants TV time, I guess. It's just whatever it is. Roger Goodell and that thing with all the money, fantasy football, betting, and it's only growing. Yeah. You want to grow this game, you got to make sure that it's done as good as possible. There's going to be errors, but you got to make sure it's done as right as possible.
Yeah, exactly. There shouldn't be a reason. If a guy like me, I always say this, if a guy like me can notice all these mistakes and people on Twitter can go on and just be like, look, this is where they messed up, and pinpoint it. Yeah, we got some real problems here, fellas. They
have the same angles, if not more.
Yeah, right? And I'm like, yeah, exactly. I don't understand.
You have $1 million monitor right there. You
have a monitor flying around you.
Yes.
Seriously, there was one. I'm just it's just ridiculous how these officials can make this type of boring calls and don't get any sort of accountability.
It's across multiple sports too. It's just as bad in basketball too. We come to see the players. We don't come to see the referees. We don't care about you. Do your job and don't make it about you.
Give me robot. Give me ball. The chips in the ball. Something. What? Just get them out of here, because you're going to do like that. You're costing people money, and you're going to do it. And you know what? It's going to happen the wrong way, the wrong time. Something in the Super Bowl. And then the league's going to really be in trouble.
Yeah. So Andy, before you leave, what are your expectations coming into this game? What do you expect to see, and maybe a score prediction?
I think it's going to be like any. This is the New Age Cardiac Kids. That's for your viewers. The Cardiac Kids for the Browns were 1980 And I have the Brian Sipe jersey from when he was league MVP 1980, where every game was like last second. And everyone's like, oh, it was crazy. This is how it is. So I fully think that with both these teams, with their injuries, with Case Keenum being able to distribute, with Singletary doing a nice job covering, I think this could be a nice day for Dalton Schultz. Browns traditionally have trouble covering tight ends. I think it's going to come down to a field goal game. And who has the ball last, I feel the way Flacco is playing at the level he is right now, if that defense can get some pressure on Keenum, Brown should be able to win, but I'm not going to go above 3 points. I'm thinking, I'm feeling like this kind of feels like a 23-20, 24-21-ish. I'll pick Browns. But again, it would not surprise me the way the Texans played, the way their coach, D'Amico Ryans, come on. Like, you guys got to be just like falling over yourselves. Like, thank you. We finally got a coach.
We finally got a competent coach, right? Somebody that cares about the team. Yeah.
Oh, and you know what, too? It's going to be actually, these two are two of the hottest candidates for Coach of the Year, D'Amico Ryans and Kevin Stefanski.
As they should.
As they should. Like, with all the injuries, Stefanski on his fourth quarterback, and you're telling me you got 9 wins? D'Amico Ryans, with the situation he walked into, with 2 coaches being fired after a year with a rookie QB, you're doing what you're doing?
You're 8-6 right now. 8-6.
Division in play.
And we're actually in consideration for playoffs, which wasn't even thought of. Anytime soon. It's like, wow. So, that's why I could see D'Amico. Shane Steichen too with the Colts is like, up there as well.
Yeah, and I love CJ Stroud. Anytime, as long as they're not playing the Browns, I'm like rooting hard for CJ Stroud. I'm a Buckeye fan.
Of course,
man, I was screaming from the top of my lungs to my shows, any show I was on before, people saying Bryce Young. I was like, are you bleeping nuts? You're telling me you're going to take a 5, and he's not 5'9". He's just, I know people who are at the combine, guys, who said 5'9". Are you kidding me? This guy's 5'8", generously.
Yeah.
No, you're going to take a first-round pick on a 5'8" guy instead of a 6'3", 215 CJ Stroud, who, in my mind, was an underrated thrower of the football. And was pro ready. Okay, cool. And you guys got him. You guys got your franchise out to tell you.
Yeah, they were aggressive, and it's been a surprise. It's been such a
dynamite.
So I had a stat really quick that I want to share. It says Cleveland. This is by John Crumpler, by the way. Cleveland quarterback Joe Flacco has a success rate of 40.7% in his 3 starts, which is the 3rd lowest rate in the NFL. Only Bailey Zapp and Bryce Young have been worse than that.
Like completion percentage?
Yeah.
So
here's
the reason why. Because with Flacco being a veteran quarterback, I've heard that stat, like, he stinks. Yeah. The reason why is because Joe Flacco's not running, right?
Yes.
If Joe Flacco doesn't like to play, he's like, no. And I've seen, and you know what? It's been the right call. There's been some where there was one step that was so funny. It was like the ball was snapped 2 seconds. He's like, nope. You could just tell. He's like, nope. And then guess what? Comes back, regroups, throws first down.
Mm-hmm.
He's not taking a sack. He's not fumbling the ball. He's throwing it away. So the completion percentage in this case doesn't mean much to me, because I can see and I know why in the situation that he's doing that.
Yeah. So
so does that. CJ does that as well.
CJ does that too.
Smart. Look at his completion. They look at his completion percentage. They're like, oh, it's low. Like, what? He throws the ball away. It's like, he doesn't run either. He runs.
That's why you gotta watch.
Like, absolutely last resort. But if it's not there, he throws it away.
Throws it away. That's fine.
That's why he gets five picks on the year. He's smart with the football.
Yep.
Sorry, last thing, and I have to ask this before because I know we're running on it. Deshaun Watson. Do you guys see him? Do you see him ending that finishing off that contract, or do you think, hey, I don't know how much longer we're going to keep Deshaun Watson for?
Because of the contract, you gotta. There's no choice.
Right.
There's no choice. The dead cap money would be ludicrous. In his contract, he's going to be. Joe Flacco could win the Super Bowl, which God, I hope he does. That'd be amazing and hilarious. He would be totally Carson. Like Deshaun Watson would be Carson Wentz, right? But the difference is Deshaun Watson's not going anywhere because he can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So Flacco could win the Super Bowl. Deshaun Watson's going to be your starting quarterback next year. And in the last game before he went out injured, I watched. I'm like, okay, all right, this is the guy I remember. And then his shoulder like falls apart. It's like,
yeah. Yeah, I remember that. I was watching some of the highlights. Like he looked like the 2020 version of himself.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, but he's getting hurt. He's taking too many hits again, like he was a rookie. But then he smartened up and stopped doing that to a degree.
Yeah.
Now he's back to it. And you know what the other thing is too, guys? It's that rust word. No, that's BS now. Yeah. Joe Flacco, literally, guys. I don't know if you know this. He ordered Sunday Ticket at the start of the year. he ordered Sunday Ticket. He was watching. He was like, I'm watching football because I'm a retired football player. Yeah. He ordered Sunday. That guy gets off the couch. Didn't play since January. Comes in. There's no rust on Joe Flacco. What's all this rust crap I hear about Deshaun Watson? Yeah. Rust is done. Rust is done. There's no rust. Get your ass going for $230 million. Get going.
Yeah,
come on.
Exactly.
There you go. Better earn that contract.
Yeah, Andy, thank you so much for taking the time to join us, brother. I appreciate it. It's always great to have you on. I gotta again when I do these wrestling shows, I'll let you know so we can just talk straight wrestling, brother.
Who's the devil? That's what I want to know. Who's the devil?
Dude, Ziggler or Matt Riddle. Watch.
I just hope it's not Jack Perry. I'm gonna be so disappointed.
Oh no. I hope not. I hope not.
You know what? Quick side note. I wish they would have held Edge out. Had it totally quiet. He was doing the movie. If you had Edge underneath there with no hype, wow. Right?
I didn't like that they had Edge and Christian on a regular TV show match. You could have built up that story.
I know.
Hey,
it's a bit of a bobble. But they got to hit that. They got to do that devil angle right. I don't know what the right is, but they got to do it right.
It has to. Yeah. Andy, as always, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you again for joining us. We appreciate the time, and that'll be it, man. I appreciate you so much.
Love it, boys. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Yes, sir.
See you. Bye.
Bye. All right. So, real quick, let's talk a little bit about our expectations drills, and we'll make it a short one today. Okay. So what do you Rios, what do you see coming in this weekend against the Browns? Like, what is your expectation for it?
It's really a tale of the tape. Like the Browns at home, like Andy had touched on it a little bit. They're great at home. It's on the road where they struggle. I actually have the numbers pulled up for the road. So at home, they give up about 14 points a game, less than 200 total yards.
Yeah.
On the road, they give up 345 yards and 30 points a game.
Oh my God!
So it's like Jekyll and Hyde with the defense.
It's a little inconsistent, isn't it?
Now the thing is, if we had CJ out there, I would 100% guarantee a win. But with Keenum,
it's tough. Like
confidence. I said, I'm still confident. Still confident. Don't get me wrong. My confidence isn't wavering, but it's like they're going to have a great game plan like they did last week.
Defense, right? Defense really has to have like a solid game.
It's going to be on the defense and kicking. And Keenum just limiting mistakes. He had that one mistake, but that was more on the running back than on him.
Yeah.
So long as he, long as he's a efficient game manager and the defense, like relentless pressure on Joe Flacco, force him into those mistakes.
Yeah.
You have a shot.
Yeah, exactly. I think they should, as long as they can do that, like they did to Will Levis, like they did to Russ. If you can have Joe Flacco make him feel uncomfortable and start having him make mistakes, dude, it's over. I think we have a really good chance at that, but that defense has to be solid. I hope with the addition of Tart, it kind of helps us out just a little bit, if anything. But man, I agree with you 100%. They have to be able to pressure Flacco. The thing about the Texans defense right now is that they are pretty good at quarterback pressures. What I mean, he had 7 sacks. We had 7 sacks against Will Levis last week.
And they got a lot of it not from blitzes. Like they didn't blitz a whole lot. They just got it from the front four pressure, and they're gonna have to do that again. I think this week probably increase the blitzing a little bit, not too much. You don't want to deviate too much from what you normally do, but like blitz maybe a little bit more because again, it's a 38-year-old Flacco. He's a statue in the pocket. He's not going to be elusive like Will Levis was or Russell Wilson was.
So it looks like throughout the – sorry, go ahead.
So you have a little bit more freedom as far as some of the things you dial up on defense. Because, again, he doesn't bring that element of running. And their running game has been pretty bad last few games also.
Yeah.
And it's not great on the road either. So
yeah, Kareem.
You have a good chance of making Joe Flacco one-dimensional.
I agree 100%. If they can make, like I said, Joe Flacco, get to him, that's going to be your key. If you can make him make mistakes, get to him, sack him, all that stuff that you did to Will Levis and Russ, we have a great chance at it. Because it looks like, we're like what now 4th, you said, right, in the league for against the rush or whatever. It looks like they are like 11th. So I don't know how much of a factor Devin Singletary is going to be, but I hope he puts some yards on him.
Running the ball, he might have a little success. I think he's going to have more success, like we saw last week, catching it out of the backfield.
Yeah,
that's the element Keenum brings to you. Like, he can make off-script plays.
Yeah,
like with Mills, like he's serviceable for like the first 15 plays because it's all scripted. After that, he's not great at improvisation, and I think that's another reason they won't Keenum. He can go off script a little bit and make something out of nothing.
Mm-hmm. But if we have CJ, I think our stats. So we'll find out tomorrow. Basically, if CJ is not cleared, then I mean, the odds look right now like it's probably not going to happen. But
because I was reading, I did a little bit of reading today, and like so with Tua Tagovailoa, he missed 2 weeks also.
Yeah,
he was more or less cleared to play the second week, but they wanted to be on the safe side.
Careful. But you know what I saw? Oh, I think I don't know if I sent it to y'all. They had mentioned that originally when CJ took that hit by Thompson against the Cardinals, that's when they saw that he was coming out a little wobbly. Remember, Davis Mills kind of came in, and then it kind of trickled down after that. So I kept thinking it was that Broncos game. It was
Cardinals game.
It was a Cardinals game.
He's basically been concussed since last 3 weeks.
Yeah, and so it's like
they're probably going to hold him out, even if he's clear. They're still going to hold him out.
Yeah, just to be on the safe side, man. But yeah, he's the fact that I totally forgot about that hit against Thompson when he just kind of sacked him. It was nobody covering.
He was down.
He was down for a while,
for a good minute.
And man, for a good minute again, that's when Davis Mills kind of came in for him for a bit. But yeah, seeing that when I saw that, I was like, oh, I see the head hit the turf or whatnot. And then again, was it the week after against the Broncos, or was it a couple of weeks after? I can't remember. It was the week after.
Right? It was Cardinals and the Broncos.
Yes, and then that one, the Broncos one was he was wobbled up or whatever, and then
the Cardinals one was worse than the Broncos game. The Broncos one, stalled a little bit, but like he jumped over the bench, like he was okay after the Broncos game, but I don't think he was all the way like
fully. Yeah.
And I can see why he's a competitor. He wants to be out there. Like these are important games.
Well, it's adrenaline too, bro. Like that adrenaline.
That's it.
To him.
Like this game, we can afford to lose it, but we can't afford to lose the last 2 divisional games against the Titans.
No. Yeah.
We can't lose those. Those are must wins, and I think they're probably going to hold them up for those 2 games.
As they should. I think it is what it is on that one. So you and I will be live streaming that Cleveland game most likely. No, not live streaming. We'll probably be at Bull and Bear. So we'll see. It's going to be we'll let our viewers know or whatever what we decide to do. We might stream it, or we might not, or we might be at our local Bull and Bear pub or whatnot. But yeah, man, that's the thing that's going to be the key to victory, like you said, getting to Joe Flacco, Keenum not making those mistakes, defense just being absolutely almost borderline perfect if you think about it, and also, I mean, just making sure that middle of the field is taken care of. Because man, if we don't get to Joe Flacco, he's going to
have a career day.
He's going to have a career day, and we've seen our defense do that to quarterbacks. We've given lesser quarterbacks.
AFC Player of the Week.
AFC Player of the Week. So it all depends on how that defense is meshing that game, how they feel going in. But because man, I'll tell you what, I just can't take 38-year-old Joe Flacco, AFC Player of the Week, Offensive Player of the Week. God,
I will take a vacation, leave the country for like a couple weeks, and then come back.
Yeah, you can't hold your head up high for that one. That's going to be a mess. But hey, man, let's just hope our boys hold it down, and I mean that's all you can hope for, really. Yeah. And let's CJ get healthy and go to work.
So what's your final score prediction?
You know what I'm going to say, right? Because I want my Texans to win. So you know what I'm going to say. I think it's going to be. Andy said it was like a 3-point game, and I agree with him. I think it's going to be a 3-point game, also leading to a field goal. And He said 20-23 in favor of the Browns. I don't think it's going to be that high scoring of a game.
I don't
As
either.
far I think as far as for us, I think I'm going to say this just because, and I might be surprised because maybe Case, is starting to mesh with some of the receivers or whatnot. But I'm still going to say the Texans lose. Okay. And I say they're probably, I'm going to say a touchdown and a field goal. So that's 10 for the Texans. And I'm going to say like 20 for the Browns. So I'm going to say 20-10.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see the Browns scoring 20 on us. So I'm going to say 20-10. Joe Flacco over 200.
Sounds like a safe bet.
All right.
I think it's gonna be low scoring. Also, it's gonna be a lot. I think Fairbairn's gonna be the MVP of this game again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I got us going. I have Texans winning 16-13.
16-13. Okay, so you're going to keep it with a 3-point game, right?
Yeah, it's going to come down to whoever has the ball last. It's going to be close.
It's going to be 5 points of safety and a field goal. That's what's going to happen. yeah, for sure. No, I agree. I agree.
Did you freeze? Well, I will give him a couple seconds to see if he comes back.
Hey, Rios.
Wow. You froze for like a good minute.
Wow. Really? I'm still frozen or no?
Am I still you're frozen? Moving up. No.
No, I guess we had like a little small outage over here on the internet or whatever. So much for fiber. But
because your face is frozen like this.
Really? Oh, that's gonna be awesome. I want to see that. That's hilarious. All right, that's funny. All right, but that's gonna be it, man. We're gonna keep it short. Thanks, Rios, for joining again, as always. And I'll see you Sunday for the Texans game. All right, that's gonna be it for us, guys. Again, as always, please don't forget to spank that subscribe button for us there. And we'll see y'all Sunday for the Browns versus Texans game. Hopefully, we get this win and we have a victory Monday. Peace.
And a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, that's right. See y'all later.